I'm Carrie, and I am a cross stitcher and a quilter, and I posted my first Flosstube video on New Year's Eve, and y'all had so many nice comments. I really appreciate all the kind things people said and the encouragement, and I'm so glad that so many people wanted to watch my video. I'm very surprised. I didn't think there was that many people out there that would click on my videos, so thank you. I did decide to do a WIP Parade, and I know I said in my last video I didn't really want to, but everybody else does one, and I really enjoy them. So even though I don't necessarily want to share my WIPs just because it's kind of a guilt trip for me, I know other people really enjoy WIP Parades, so I'm going to suck it up and get out all of my shame and unfinished projects. And then I also wanted to share my WIPGO board. I'll have Jake insert a picture of what that looks like. If you haven't heard of WIPGO, it's kind of like a bingo game, but it's not really bingo. You get a 5x5 table setting, and there are templates online that you can find. And I picked 12 projects that I want to work on in 2025, and then I assigned each one a number, and then I just randomly put them on the board. And there's one free space, and I put that randomly on my board as well. And every month the moderator will call a random set of numbers, and whatever numbers are called, you would look at your WIPGO chart and see what projects that means for you to work on. And January is number 11 and number 20. So I looked at my board, and that means I get to start Anne Grimshaw, and I get to pull out Elizabeth Furniss, and I'm going to try to do, my goal is to maybe do 6 to 8 hours on each of them, and then see how I feel. So I have my phone over here, I'm using my MacBook, and then I have my phone, and I'm doing this like desk view feature that MacBook has, which I'd never used. So I'm hoping that this is going to be a better way to show my project so that y'all can sit and really like see them, as opposed to me holding them up wrong and crooked and shakily. And so I'll probably toggle back and forth between my desk view and first POV, I guess. All right, the first project on my WIPGO board this year is Anne Grimshaw. And this is actually going to be a new start for me. And I am using 36 count cream and sugar for this. I've been collecting the Gloriana silk for it for a while, and I think I bought, let's see here, I think I bought like 12 skeins, maybe. And this is definitely like one of those charts that I thought I would never ever do. Of course that was then, this is now. But I was watching Carol Saltbox Stitcher, and I saw her finish Anne Grimshaw, and I was like, oh my gosh, now I have to make it. And when I bought the chart at the time, I thought, I'm just gonna buy the chart to look at it. I'm not gonna stitch it. I just want to look at it. And now here I am. I've got plans to do Anne Grimshaw 1818. And so that should be interesting. And my project bag, my mom actually made this. I think it's a by Annie pattern. I'm not really sure, but she made it a long time ago and gave it to me, and I've never really had anything to put in it until now, so that's what I'm going to store Anne Grimshaw in. All right, also on my WIPGO board this year, these are also new starts. I'm going to do Comfort and Joy. I got the kit from Country Sampler, so I have all the called for threads. I think it's stitched on, yes, 36 count baked clay, so I have that as well. So I'm ready to start that. And then the other new start I will have this year is Real Comfort by Plum Street Samplers. And I'm pretty sure I have a cut of Saltbush, so I'm going to use the called for fabric and threads for that as well. So I'm excited about those. Right, my next WIPGO project is Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow by Carriage House Samplings. And I have actually been stitching these individually because stitching one big piece like that, I don't know, I'm afraid I wouldn't finish it. Like, it's so big. So I'm tackling them as individual pieces and making little pillows. And the reason I like this pattern so much is it's actually lines from a poem. And I'm trying to think, it's Thomas Lovell Bledsoe. Oh, I don't remember. I'll have Jake, maybe he can post the poem on the screen. But that's what the verse is in the blocks. That's where it comes from. So the second verse, which actually isn't in the pattern, it actually brings up block 5, which is the shipwreck block. And I thought that was really interesting because suddenly, you know, this block, it's kind of randomly in there. And the second verse kind of goes into detail about, you know, why the shipwreck is there. So as you can see, I don't have a whole lot more to do on block 5. I just have to fill in the navy for the ocean. And I'll show you all. All right, so my plan for Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow, I really wanted to do like a tiered tray with little pillows. And that way I could pick and choose what I wanted to work on, what charts I wanted to complete in this pattern. So I've done 4 so far. And I think it'll be really cute. I think the next one I'm going to do after I finish the shipwreck block. I love the train, the tunnel. But I think I'm going to focus on completing the actual verse, the text blocks that are part of the verse, and then I would have like a complete verse. And then if I feel like it, I'll do the scarecrow. But I for sure want to do the 2 remaining text blocks and the train coming out of the tunnel. I don't think I'm going to do the witches or the scarecrow or the swamp creatures, I guess. But anyway, I think it's a really cool pattern, and we love Halloween here. So, and then my pillows, they are backed with Teresa Kogut Halloween fabric and a piece of black lace to cover up my Franken stitches from when I turned it right side out. I've got Chanel trim from Lady Dot Creates. And I just ordered that in green, orange, and black. I'm using 36 count Oaken by Picture This Plus. I think that one's so cool. I can't believe that I stitched that without screwing it up, because that's a lot of stitching. And then this one probably has the least amount of stitching out of all of them. So someday I will have a cute little bowl full of this poem. All right. My next WIPGO project this year is the Pink House Sampler by Plum Street. And I have an interesting story about the family member I am stitching this in honor of. I'm stitching it on 36 count Old Mushroom by XG Designs, and it's probably one of my favorite fabrics. I love this fabric. So in the cartouche up here, I'm not gonna do the verse. I am gonna stitch the initials of some family members. So I'm stitching this piece for my great grandmother. It's so confusing, y'all. All right, so Pink House Sampler. I am stitching this in honor of my great great grandmother. Her name was Louise Ferris Miller. And for those who don't know, I am a twin. I have a twin brother, and we never really knew where twins came from in our family. We don't know a lot about our distant relatives. My dad's biological father was a twin, and I think his twin died in the womb. So we assumed that's kind of where it must have come from. It must have stemmed from that side of the family. But I joined Ancestry a few years ago, and I stumbled across a major discovery about our family, and it was so uncanny. It made everything make sense. Everything kind of fell into place, and we finally understood, like, yeah, the reason we have twins in this family is because of this woman. So my great-great-grandmother, Louise Ferris Miller, she at one time held the world record for number of multiple births, and she made national headlines in the 1890s. So in less than 9 years, she gave birth to 17 children, and that included 3 sets of triplets, 3 sets of twins, and 2 single births. But what's sad is that many of them didn't survive past 6 months. Medical treatments back then weren't what they are today, and it was just common for that to happen. And she unfortunately had to go through that horrible loss many times. Her last child, Vivian, was born in 1901. And by that time, the newspapers had found some other story or some other person to report on. So she kind of fell out of the news at that point. But Louise's mother was interviewed for one of these newspaper articles, and apparently Louise's mother, so this would be my great-great-great-grandmother, she actually had a set of twins, and the newspaper quoted her saying, "I had twins once, and that was bad enough. I hope my daughter will not even do that." So I continued kind of poking around Ancestry, and I came across another article that mentioned Louise's great aunt. I haven't been able to find a whole lot of information on her, but this woman had 21 children, including 2 sets of quintuplets. Unfortunately, with the second set, she died during labor, and after her death, her husband married her sister, who gave him 3 sets of twins in rapid succession. So yeah, we have a lot of multiples in our family history. And what tipped me off, that made me realize this really is my great-great-grandmother, are the names that she gave her children. The names she gave her children were so unusual that as soon as I found these articles, there was not a doubt in my mind that this is her. So instead of the verse on this pattern where the cartouche is, I have decided to stitch all 19 of her children's initials. And that includes back in the 1900s, early 1900s, it was pretty common for families to just take in other children that needed homes if their parents couldn't care for them. It was common for them to just go to the neighbor's house and that the neighbor would raise the child. So she did have children that would end up in her household. My mom specifically remembers Uncle Jack, who was not her biological child, but I'm going to put him in the chart. And some of the names, there is one that I can't find. I'm not sure how I'm going to abbreviate unknown. like I said, a lot of these little babies died within six weeks to 6 months. So the names, I want to share the names because they're very unusual. So we have Aleda. I think my mom called her Lydie. Arlington, Wellington, Waldo, Florizel, Lester, Lingard, Elmer, Alton, Avery, D. Judson, and the D didn't stand for anything. It was just D. Judson, and they called him Judd. W. Barton, same thing. Gertrude, Lillian, Flossom, Faye, Unknown, and Vivian. So, and then of course she took in Jack that she raised alongside her children. So that is the story on Louise Ferris Miller, and it was just quite an amazing find. So I really wanted to kind of immortalize, and I thought, you know, once I finish this and get it framed, I could tuck in some of these newspaper articles and tuck them in behind the frame to kind of, years from now, if someone comes across it in a thrift store somewhere, they could maybe pop open the back and uncover all this information about, you know, my family and who all these people were. So I thought that was a really great way to honor her and all of these children she had. Is pretty remarkable. So that is Pink House Sampler. Okay, so my next WIPGO project is Elizabeth Furniss. And I first saw Olivia at Pumpkin Hollow Quilts stitching this, and it was another one of those projects I was like, no way, I'd never do that. That's way too much work. It's too big. It was too daunting. And then of course, the more she showed hers, the more I thought like maybe I could do it. And I loved the frame that she picked at Hobby Lobby, and I thought, gosh, I could even get the same frame. So Elizabeth Furniss for my WIPGO board. I have a very small start on her. Just that. I think I've only worked on it once. Using 36 count Bee's Knees by Seraphim, which is what Olivia used, so I'm just copying her shamelessly. So that number was actually called this month, so I'll get to pull her out and work on her some. And Winnie is here, and I think she's about to walk in front of the camera, so that's going to be exciting. So for my next WIP for WIPGO, I am going to be working on Scary Sampler by Heartstring Samplery. This was actually a restart. I started it on 32 count, and Winnie. Okay, I started it on 32 count, and then I kind of just like graduated to 36 count, and now I kind of don't like 32 count. So I did go ahead and restart it on 36, and Winnie's gonna be my Vanna White. Is it Vanna or Vanna? Vanna White. This is what I have. Winnie, she's rubbing on my laptop. Okay, so this is Scary Sampler by Heartstring Samplery, and it is on 36 count. I want to say Prairie Grass by Seraphim. Oh my gosh. Oh, Winnie. She just jumped on my pile. Okay. I want to say it's 36 count Seraphim Prairie Grass. I'm pretty sure. There was a time I was really good at remembering everything, but and I think this chart is really cool. There are so many Easter eggs hidden throughout it. So on the chart, you can see all the references for all of the small, there's little motifs in it. The cemetery tombstones are a reference to Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Willow Tree is a nod to Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I just thought, that's so cool. I love it. So that was kind of like the main reason I was drawn to this. I love the figure in the window, Kathy's ghost from Wuthering Heights. I'm just totally into it. And if you watch Stranger Things, the flowers around the border, I think they're supposed to be demogorgons. Yeah, demogorgon heads, flowers in the border. So I thought that was cool. So that is my other WIPGO project. My next WIPGO project is the Christmas Bells Sampler by Heartstring Samplery. And I wanted to start this Christmas Day 2022, I believe, but it took me over a year to source all of the Gloriana threads, which there are only like 5, but it took me so long to find all the colors for it. So I actually didn't get to start it until I think December 26th, 2023. So I had a small start on it, and I didn't work on it for a year until this past December. I pulled it out and decided I wanted to get a lot done on it. So this is where I'm currently at. And I'm stitching it on 36 count Cream and Sugar by Fiber on a Whim. And I think it's really neat. I love this sparkly. It's like a DMC Etoile. It's got a little bit of sparkle in the bells. So I'm hoping that it's about halfway at this point. I'm hoping maybe I can finish that this year. Next on my WIPGO board is Winter Moon by Plum Street. This I started Christmas 2023 and didn't make a whole lot of progress on it. And then last month I pulled it out and worked on it for a little bit. So this is where I'm currently at. I am stitching it on, this was a kit from Country Sampler, and I am using 36 count Saltbush. But this one, it's a lot of stitching, especially down here with all the stars. That's a lot of snow. In the house, of course, but it'll be good to get that one done because I really want to work on Comfort and Joy when I finish this. And I think it would be nice to just have bigger Christmas pieces to display every year. So that is Winter Moon. Next up is Dog's Declaration by Ink Circles. And if you know our dogs, you know they love barking at squirrels. We didn't have squirrels at our last house because we didn't really have trees. It was a new neighborhood. And when we came out here in the country, boy, they love barking at everything. So this one I am stitching on 36 count Tycho by Picture This Plus, which I think is the called for. And it's all DMC. So I'm hoping to get a little bit more done on that this year. My back looks so neat. I can't say every back looks that neat, but this one I must have been on a roll. So that is Dog's Declaration by Ink Circles. Okay, my other WIPGO project is, this is my Brenda Gervais Christmas project bag. It's not everything that I have, it's just the ones that I pulled recently that I want to work on next year. So I have several projects in here, and this is Reindeer Games. So this is in progress, so I'd like to finish this. I had messed up on my Santa here. I think he's one row of stitching too short, and I think I'd have to rip out like all of this if I wanted to fix it, and it's kind of driving me crazy, so I don't know what I want to do. But while I was thinking about it, I started the next chart in Reindeer Games. Let's see if I can find the pattern. Oh, it's not over here, that's why. All right, maybe we'll turn. I don't have the pattern cover. I'm not sure where that is. So yeah, that's Reindeer Games. The other projects I want to start that are in this bag, I have the whole kit for Peppermint and Pine that I got from Country Sampler. And I was going to do the cardinal for my mom because she really likes cardinals. So I have the whole kit to do that. And then the snowball. Plans to do that. This one, Joy and Good Cheer. I've had kitted for a while. I'd like to make that. And we have Let It Snow, which came out last year. This is from Country Sampler as well. I got the whole kit. And then I really want to work on this. I've had this kitted for no less than 2 years. And I think I've even bought the floss for it twice because I forgot that I had bought it already. So I have the beads, I have everything. I have my fabric cut, ready to go. So I really want to start that and get it finished. Because I've seen a lot of people finishing that and I love it. And then, what else do I have? I have Christmas Swan. I even have my fabric and my needle ready for that one. That is going to be, I think that's on Winter Brew. And I think this is 40 count. And then the last project in this bag is Peace and Goodwill. It's another one a lot of people finished just recently. And I love it. So I got the fabric for it, which is Seraphim Tobias, which is the called for. And the snowball, I'm going to use Patriots Brew, 36 count. And I think those would be really cute, like in a little dough bowl. And then I have all the threads. So the way I've got this organized, she said, I don't have it on this one. Well, great. I don't know what thread this goes to or what project that is. Okay, let's try this again. See, I have these little tags. I got them off Amazon. Super cheap. I think I got a pack of 1,000 for like $7.99. So I've just been putting these on all of my floss rings for each project so that I know what goes to what. This one, let's see what this one is. This one is for Santa Stops Here. So it'll help keep me organized. Now I have to think about what project this is for. It might be Reindeer games. I'll figure it out because I know it goes to one of these. It's probably Reindeer games because I have the thread with everything. Oh my gosh. I even bought the beads twice. Oh well. So that'll be a fun WIPGO call when that number comes up, and I'm excited. And I think I might actually work on it regardless throughout the year, just because there's a lot to be done on that one. So that is Brenda Gervais Christmas. Okay, my last WIPGO project is Consider the Lilies by Heartstring Samplery. And this one is huge. I'm using a fat half of 36 count Winter Brew by R&R. The pattern is by Heartstring Samplery. And I've seen a lot of people complete this, and I think it would be really neat if I could have this hanging on a wall one day. I'm using all the called for threads. I started it on Leap Day 2024, and my plan was to finish it within the next 4 years before the next Leap Day. So I have about 3 years left to finish this, and I'm really enjoying it. I haven't messed up on it so far, which is shocking. At least I haven't figured out. I haven't realized I've messed up. There's still plenty of time, but the first thing I did when I started is I did the whole border all around. And the way I did that was I did half stitches in every, let's see, that's a lie, I did not do that. Did I? Well, anyway, when I started this, I did the outer border first, just the bones of the outer border. And wouldn't you know it, I got all the way to where I started and it lined up perfectly the first time. And I just think that is a miracle. So very proud about that. And what that means is I can jump around anywhere basically because I have a guide. So if I get sick of a certain motif or I want to stitch a certain motif, I can move around freely. So I'm really enjoying that. And I am looking forward to that number being called for WIPGO. All right, that was my plans for WIPGO. So that was technically, I guess, 12 WIPs. I don't actually know how many WIPs I have, so we're gonna find out. I was thinking about asking Jake to like put a WIP counter down in the corner, and then as I show them, we can count together. How do I want to do this? So you saw 12 for my WIPGO board. I've got a stack back here of all my current WIPs. If the needle has gone into the fabric and made a stitch, I count it as a WIP. I was finding when I was getting all of my stuff ready that I have a lot of stuff kitted and put in project bags that I actually haven't started. So I think I don't have as many WIPs as I thought, but there's still quite a few. So I'm gonna do the top-down camera again for these, and hopefully y'all will like what you see. All right, well, my first WIP I'm gonna show is one that I actually started yesterday, and that was because I had all of my projects like stacked and ironed and neatly laid out, and I didn't feel like grabbing a current WIP, so I just started something new. So this is Love Notes by Brenda Gervais, and I would really like to have all of these in like a dough bowl by Valentine's Day. And I think I can do it because these projects, they're actually really small. I was thinking that this was going to be a lot bigger. So it's all DMC, so it's really economical. And I am stitching on 36 count Ligonier Latte by Arnar. So after I finish the coffee cup one, I think I'm going to do this one because that one's pretty big. And then after that, I feel like the remaining projects should go by really quickly. So I think I can knock that out. All right, my next WIP is one I started a couple of years ago. It was a club that I did. I think I did it through Fat Quarter Shop. And it's Beach Boardwalk by Country Cottage Needleworks. And I think there are either 7 or 9 of these patterns. I've done 2. I can't remember what this one is, but there is a taffy shop. Oh, that's what that one is. There's a surf shop, snack shop, boardwalk, bike shop, ice cream shop, which is this one here, and souvenir shop, which is that one here. So there must just be 7. But I am stitching these on, I believe it's 32 count flax by Zweigart. And I'm excited about this. I already bought like the perfect, I think I'm going to do flat finishes for all of these. So I found this Fat Quarter bundle from Primrose Cottage on their Etsy site. And I thought, like, these colors are perfect to do a flat finish with. Oh, it's so cute. So I got that, and then I don't know what my plan was for this fabric. Maybe like a maybe for the back, but it looks like boardwalk, like wooden planks that you would find on the beach. So, and then I have Polar Ice chenille trim. So maybe if I decide to do pillows, I could have a trim around the pillow. And I thought I had like buttons that I found. Yes. I found these cool buttons from Just Another Button Company. And they're so cute. There's like seashells and sand dollars and birds. I thought that would be really cute. Gotta find some ribbon. But yeah, that's kind of like my reward for when I finish stitching all of these. I could make a really cute display. And I got all the parts like ready to go. I just have to finish stitching them. So that is Beach Boardwalk by Country Cottage Needleworks. My next WIP is, this is the Prim Stitch series by Lori Holt. And it's a big one. There are 12 squares. I have done 3 1/4. This is supposed to be Winnie. I customized it. I made it a little pudgier because Winnie's got some extra. And I think the chart, this was originally a bluebird. I changed it to a cardinal because we have so many cardinals out here. But yeah, this is on 25 count Prim Lugana. I'm also working on the quilt version, which someday I'll finish. And it's all DMC. And I already have the frame for this. I had a frame custom made, and that was supposed to motivate me to get it done. And that was like 2 years ago. So I still really want to finish it and hang it. I think it would be really cute in my sewing room if I can find a place for it. But that is the Prim Stitch series by Lori Holt. Next up is the monthly weigh-in series by Stitching with the Housewives. And I believe I'm stitching these on 28 count Lugana mushroom. And let's see, it started, I have September, October, November, and December finished. I would really like to get the rest of the year done because I worked really hard on the display piece for these, which was sold from Paisleys and Polka Dots, which she offers like laser cut wood finishes for cross stitch that you paint and finish yourself. But I have January started, and I have all the wood pieces that go with it, and I'll show y'all my December monthly weigh-in. So I've had just December on display for like a year now. And then this is the finished piece. And then the idea is to use magnets and washers so that you can switch your pieces out every month, which I think is really cool. So I would like to get that finished so that I don't have to have December up for 8 months. Next is French Woolens by Plum Street. I kind of started this one on a whim one day last year, and I've only worked on it once, but the sheep crack me up. And it's just little, I think. It's not very big, 88 by 110 stitch count. And I am not sure what my fabric is. I know it's 36. It might be a Cedar River linen, I'm not sure. But I know when I started it, I was way off when I started, so I'm gonna be like way down here when I finish. I'm gonna have to be really, really careful when I frame it, that I leave myself enough margin. But it's little, so I think I can finish that. Next project is summer refreshes. I have every season, all 4 seasons. I've only started summer refreshes and I did not get very far. I believe it must be a 32 count because I'm doing it over 2. It looks like oatmeal by Fiber on a Whim, but I'm not 100% sure. So it did not get a whole lot finished on this, but maybe one day I will. I'm actually not a summer person. I hate summer. We live in Texas and it's 1,000,000 degrees outside and everything burns. The lawn, the trees, the grass, everything burns and it's just miserable. So I'm not really a summer person. And I think by stitching this, I was trying to embrace a more positive outlook on summer, but I don't know. You can see how well that worked out because I didn't finish it, but maybe this year we'll have a pretty summer and I will want to work on it. So that's by Summer House Stitchworks. Next is American Welcome by Plum Street. I can't remember when this one came. It was sometime last year. And this one's pretty big. But I got the kit from Farm Gold Dry Goods and I'm stitching it on her Old Amana linen 36 count. Don't have a huge start on this one either. This was just one evening, maybe last spring, early summer. I was bored and I just grabbed something and stitched on it for an hour or 2. But I started in the top center, so it looks like it's gonna be tight, but I'm pretty sure I measured and determined that no, it's, I mean, this is the linen that was included in the kit, so it should be big enough unless I started too low. I don't know, maybe I should look at that. But anyway, 36 count Old Amana linen, American Welcome. So this series, Early Americans by Little House Needleworks, I have completed 1. I have done Betsy Ross. Did this a couple years ago. And I wanted to do the whole series. I have started Martha Washington and not gotten very far. I think I had a mistake and I had to rip out. And then I was ready to move on, but ultimately, I want to have the whole series done as little pillows, using Minnick & Simpson fabric for the backs and some lace trim, and I stuff with polyfill and crushed walnut shells. So I would like to work on this some. As soon as summer starts rolling around, I might be into the patriotic stitching again. But I haven't had that bug for a while, so we'll see. And I'm stitching it on, what's it called? 36 count Antique Lace by Seraphim. All right, I have Star Spangled Ornaments by Itso Emma. And I have completed the Blueberry Pie. And this I just need to fill in, but I'm planning still to do all 12 and then perhaps have like a seasonal patriotic tree to hang them from someday. It's on 25 count Pebble, which I think is the called for. Let me see. Yes, 25 count Pebble Lugana. It's pretty cute. I mean, they're easy. They go pretty quickly. So I'll work on that some. Okay, this is a fairly old WIP, Caroline Amelia Trowel by Brenda Gervais. And this was kind of like my first sampler that I decided I wanted to do. I thought it was cute. And I'm doing it on 32 count Old Mushroom by XJU. And I just love this fabric. I've pretty much finished. It looks like I need to fill in the mortar on the house still, but the top band is pretty much finished. My thing is I just don't really want to stitch on 32 count right now. So I don't know when I'll pick this up again. I think I do want to finish it. I'm just not sure when I'll be in the mood to stitch 2/2 on a sampler. But it's getting there. So that's Caroline Amelia Trowell by With Thy Needle and Thread. So I also have All Creatures Great and Small by Barbara Anna Designs. And this one, I don't know what came over me, but I started it, gosh, right before we moved or right after we moved. So this would have been like 2.5 years ago. And at the time I was really not stitching on 40 count yet, but I guess something took over and I just went for it. So I did start it and I got quite a bit done considering it's 40 count. I don't remember the linen. Oh, actually, yes, it is Brenda's Brew. 40 count Brenda's Brew. So that's what I got done for that. It's cute. I would like to finish that and display it. There's other things I think I would rather work on right now. So that is All Creatures Great and Small. All right, I do have a few Christmas WIPs that I'm working on. Of course, y'all saw in my first video, I talked about Prairie Schooler January, which I did last year. This was kind of like the last Prairie Schooler Santa I was working on before I finally just was ready to move on. And this is the 2008 Santa, I believe. Yes, it's the 2008 Santa. I'm doing it with all the called for DMC on 32 count Petty Point raw, I think. Is it raw or just Petty Point? But I wanted him to look like he was in the snow. So anyway, I picked this fabric because I like how it looks kind of like snow, and since he's outside, he's got his sled. I thought it would be a good choice for the Santa, but one day he'll be a finished ornament on our tree. And I just found the chart for reindeer games, so that's good. My last Christmas WIP is this Joyous Season by Plum Street, and I have really great memories of working on this in January 2023. Jake and I went to Galveston for a vacation, and we stayed at Hotel Galvez, which is a historic hotel that is known to be haunted. So my memories is just us. We spent pretty much the whole time at the bar in the hotel lobby. And I think we worked our way through that entire bar menu. But this is what I stitched on at the bar in the hotel. And it's on 32 count. I think it's Up in the Attic by Fox and Rabbit. 32 count. It's super cute and I love it and it's beautiful, but it's not 36 and I really like 36 count now. And so I haven't really wanted to work on this chart. I tried to work on it a few weeks ago. I put just this little half a pink flower in and I just hated every minute of it. So I know this is going to be controversial, but I really think I might restart it on 36 count and then maybe rehome this to someone who likes 32, because there's so much done on it. I mean, it would be a shame to just get rid of it. So I would probably put it up for adoption and let someone finish it. But it is a really cute chart and I do really want to stitch it. But yeah, I have a lot of great memories with this one, stitching at the bar with Jake. The rest of my WIPs are all fall and Halloween projects. So I started the Quilted Scarecrow around July 4th last year. Didn't get a whole lot finished, but this is on 25 count Oatmeal Lugana with DMC. It's by Lori Holt, of course. I have the quilt version that I want to piece. I actually have both quilt versions. There's an applique version and a pieced version, and I have kits to do both. So one of these days. Next, I have Witches of Salem by the Primitive Hare. And we have plans one day to go up to Salem, Massachusetts and tour some of the major locations for Salem witch trials and all that history. So I'm stitching this on, it's a 36 count, but I don't remember the linen. Somewhere, somehow, I wrote it down. I'm just not sure where. But I am using the called for, I can't remember. I think it's a week's that I'm using. I see a lot of people stitch, like there are some cute patterns about Salem witch trials, and I don't, it's fine if you like that sort of thing. I don't like to make light of that whole situation. I think it was just such a terrible event in human history that I don't really want to make it cutesy, so to speak. Like, so I thought I like to focus more on like historical honoring the people that were victims in that horrible event. So I like to take a more serious tone with the whole Salem witch trials. So that's why I chose this pattern. And maybe if I finish it before we take our trip, I can take it with us and take it around to the cemeteries and main attractions and get some pictures of it. I think that'd be fun. Next is the Reverend Gordon Squashbottom by Not Forgotten Farms. This one, it's kind of a puny start. Just did some outline. That was probably like an afternoon. I just had a bug and I wanted to work on it. Don't remember the fabric. It is 36. I know that much. It might be Raw by Zweigart, I bet. So this is another pattern that's real economical because it's just DMC. So that's a WIP. Next I have, what is this one? I think it's The Quilted Witch by Lori Holt. I don't have the chart because I have the PDF version, so I'll have Jake put a picture in of what this is supposed to look like. I did the pieced quilt version, and that is ready for long arm quilting. I just haven't quilted it yet, but this is another one of those, like, when I feel like stitching on Lugana, I like the Lori Holt projects for that. And that's on 25 count Prim, I think. Prim Lugana. Next is the Salem Sisters Apothecary by Primrose Cottage Stitches. And I was super lucky to get the wood piece to finish this on. Their dad is the one that, he's a woodworker, and he's the one that makes the wooden boards that you can mount them on. And they come already painted and sanded and scuffed up, just like this in the picture. And if you've got to watch his Etsy shop. I'll see if I can remember to link it below, but occasionally he makes a bunch of them and puts them on Etsy, and they sell out really, really fast. So I was lucky to get one. I am stitching it on 36 count. I believe it's Witch's Brew by XG Designs. And I'm using the called for weeks, which is coal. But I thought that'll be fun. I like purple. And there's not too much more for me to do on it. There's some back stitching that might take a while, but And we have When Witches Go Riding by With Thy Needle and Thread. I was working on this around the time we moved in October. So I finished the first one. And I think when I stitched it, I think I had the chart like sideways like this. So all my stitches technically are going the wrong direction, but I really don't think that's gonna matter. So I'm gonna do a double, just like the picture, make little pillows. And I'm working on the middle section now, the middle pillow. And that third pillow should not take very long because there's not a whole lot of stitching. It's just mostly text. So I would like to get that one done this year. And this is on 36 count vintage country mocha with the called for thread. Next is Halloween Terrarium by Tiny Modernist. And this is actually, I think it's a, let's see. It looks bigger than a 14 count. Is it bigger or smaller? I don't know what. Like maybe it's a 28 count? I'm stitching 2/2, but it's a fabric flare. And no, I didn't use the call for fabric, but it's all DMC. So that's Halloween Terrarium by Tiny Modernist. And my last WIP, I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the last one. I am doing the cover project from the Hello Halloween book by Teresa Kogut. And I started this in March of 2023. And I went at it really hard. So I'm stitching it on 28 count. I think it's old linen, which is, the pattern calls for, I think 36 count old linen by XGU. And I bought that. And when it came at the time, I was not stitching on 36, but I took one look at it and I was like, there's no way I can do that. So I turned around and I reordered the fabric in a 28 count. So I'm doing 2/2 with all the called for threads. And I'm really pretty close to getting this one done. I did mess up. I messed up here. I think I was under the impression it was a repeating color chain. And so my chain is just going to be different than the cover. By the time I realized that it was not like a repeating chain, it's like a mirror image. I just figured, oh well, it is what it is. But yeah, that one's cute. And this pumpkin up here, it bugs me because I used 2 different skeins of Colonial Copper by Classic Colorworks, and you can tell where I ran out because the dye lot changed significantly. But I don't think I'm gonna fix it. I don't think I'm gonna change it. I guess if I did, I wouldn't have that much to rip out here, but oh well. So I have plans to like frame this one day and hang it up. Just don't know when it's gonna happen. We're getting a major cold front today, and the wind is picking up. Like it's gonna go from 76 to like 28. It's crazy. So the dogs are barking because they hear stuff blowing around outside. All right, y'all, that was my 2025 WIP Parade and my plans for WIPGO. I'm hoping to come back in about 2 weeks and share my progress on my WIPGO numbers for this month, which was Anne Grimshaw and Elizabeth Furniss. So hopefully I'll have a little bit of stitching to share from those 2 projects. And then I have a couple of other things I want to work on this month. So we'll see how far I get with those. And I do have a finish or 2 already to show. And then from there, I'll kind of see if I've got any haul to share or any major news. So thank you for watching and tuning in, and I hope to see you next time. This is Ginger. She's our little mini dachshund. She will be 4 on January 8th. And she is so much fun. She's so cuddly. So squishy. Ah, thank you. Yes, thank you. What? What are you doing? I didn't know you were going to play right now. I'm trying to do a video. Okay, come on. This is Coco. She's got her catnip crayon. It's disgusting. Yes. No. Yes. She wants me to throw it for her. Here. Wow. Everybody's gonna make a cameo in this video. Look at her, she's so cute. What are you doing? What's going on? Why does it have to rain right now? Oh, there goes Coco with her crayon. She's so cute. She me up. Never mind, Jake. Don't even bother with that part. Okay, take 504. So I have my top-down camera over here that I've been experimenting with. Let's try this again. WIPGO. Good Lord. I'm gonna get through this, I promise. Okay, wow. I got like 70% through that story and none of it was recording because I didn't hit the button. Winnie, get your out of the camera. So that has... I'm sorry, Jake. You got your work cut out for you today. And I thought I wasn't going to have any bloopers. I thought I was going to do this perfectly.